Hello, and thank you for joining me here on America Speaks, where America gets to speak. My name is Paula Flo. I'm your show hostess and the executive director of The Hitting Stops Here, a campaign for teaching kindness and respect in schools everywhere. Yesterday, December 14th, was the day that a bill for ending sanctioned and lawless abuse of school children targeted at them by their American educators was left unaddressed by the U.S. Education Committee as they took off from Washington, D.C. to be home for the holidays with family and friends. Ironically, it was the day of violence that occurred in a Connecticut elementary school. At least 28 died at the hands of a 20-year-old said to have been diagnosed with a personality disorder. The Hitting Stops Here wants to express a personal note, how this horrific event is a great burden of sadness for our team, working diligently for having safe schools. And we send our most sincere condolences to the loved ones of each fatally injured victim, and our prayers are with those who survived this terror. Sadly, such events will continue to happen in American schools, as it is quite natural that those having personality disorders and a host of other mental and emotional issues hurt and take the lives of others. According to science, striking children for obedience, a form of child abuse, can lead to personality disorders. More than 2,000 children in American schools reportedly face abuse, and the prospect of becoming the next angry, confused, resentful person with a gun in hand aiming to hurt others. This number occurs daily in American schools. Today, this message is on Obamaship, same-sex marriage, and USA school beatings, and other forms of school abuse committed by unprofessional and criminal American educators. Abuse that will inevitably lead to more violence in American society, while perpetrators are paid hard-earned U.S. tax dollars. Under the leadership of President Obama, the number one target for USA school beatings and deaths related to rampant and widespread school abuse are Black American boys. Under Obamaship, educators employed throughout the U.S. and territories remain sanctioned to beat, tie up, use taser guns, and exercise every imaginable practice harmful to developing human beings under the guise of discipline. In the early part of Obama's first term, he made a handsome donation to a school where beating children is sanctioned in the paddling state of South Carolina, represented by his close associate and advisor, James E. Clyburn. It's no wonder Guantanamo Bay is still open. I suggest that listeners Google and read an article entitled, "Why Losing Indefinite Detention Powers Would Be a Disaster for Obama." Indefinite detention powers refers to federal legislation that Obama signed into law on New Year's Eve last year, a bill that virtually wiped away the U.S. Constitution in ways that the children of today will experience the most in their adulthood if left unchallenged by the mature U.S. citizens of today. While in Asia, November 2012, Obama told the leaders of the nation Myanmar to embrace American-style democracy. One has to wonder what the difference is between democracy and American-style democracy under the Obama administration. Review this article also in its entirety in the archives of the Wall Street Journal, printed November 20th, 2012. The present 112th Congress has hanging in the balance until its last day, January 2nd, 2013, The potential to go down in history for being the most evil Congress in the history of the U.S., or for being the Congress that restored integrity to this nation's leadership. Two bills are before the American people at this society-changing moment in history. One supports same-sex marriage. The other will protect children by banning USA school beatings and other forms of abuse that are routinely faced by our children, some leading to fatalities. God calls the acts of homosexuality an abomination in the Bible. Now, some listening may say, hey, some of my best friends are homosexual. How dare you? And to that I say, some of mine also. Some may also say, I don't believe the Bible is God's word. And for that matter, one saying so is based on faith alone. Nevertheless, the Bible, which is the book of the Christian faith, says what it says about the acts of homosexuality. God's word calls the act itself sin, an abominable sin. Words about the person committing the act being righteous or sinner are left unexpressed. Only the acts engaged in are referred to as abominable. You can see Leviticus 18:22 and 1 Corinthians 6:9. There are many causes for becoming homosexual. Yet one who is homosexual can be righteous in the eyes of God. Again, it's committing the acts of homosexuality that God refers to as being an abomination in the Bible. Presently, the issue of same-sex marriage is flooding mainstream media. Everyone in the U.S. is aware of this legislation supported by President Obama. There are billboards on highways and commercials and even comedy on television and in movies to help one embrace this form of relationship in society. An example can be found in a film with a leading U.S. president character named Maze Gillian. Mr. Mark Echo of Echo Unlimited Products and Child Advocate made an effort to post billboards throughout the nation alerting citizens of USA school abuse and fatalities occurring, as he is a billionaire and can afford to take this form of action. The results? He was turned down in most states and warned by leaders in this country to back up from this issue. Yes, he was threatened. His passion for ending USA school beatings was beaten down by U.S. governing leaders and others in positions of power, resulting in his diminishing presence in the battle to end school beatings and abuse. Not so with same-sex marriage billboard campaigns. They are welcomed and encouraged to help develop an acceptance of this legislation across the country. Legislation beaten down that would protect what God calls the greatest, children, is hidden from the news, and those who diligently work for their safety are placed at risk in America. To further display this travesty in this country, same-sex marriage is an impossibility. Why? Because marriage originates in the Bible. The word marriage, according to biblical dictionaries, means sexual intercourse. Sexual intercourse produces offspring. It is impossible for same-sex partners to produce offspring. So the whole concept and law is out of line with what marriage means, created by God. In the meantime, legislators and media are working diligently to keep ending corporal punishment in schools Act H.R. 3027, a bill that would end the beatings from being represented in the news so that this abuse may continue in schools of America's most disadvantaged school children and those having special needs, particularly nonverbal autism. Take time, if you would, America. Research the subject of depopulation on YouTube. What better way is there for a president to follow through on an elitist plan of depopulation than through encouraging same-sex marriage, a union that fails to produce offspring, for which marriage is encouraged in the Bible? Procreation. What better way is there also to support the depopulation agenda than by sanctioning acts of abuse and terror toward American school children, resulting in a litany of health issues compounded by sexual confusion? One of the top 10 results of striking children on their buttocks, an erogenous zone, during the time when this area is its most sensitive to touch, let alone to blows. Today is a good day to pause for a moment and say, I live in a country where what is deemed an abomination by God receives media attention and support by an unhealthy government. And what is deemed the greatest by God is being beaten, terrorized, and murdered by those paid to serve and protect them. Both of these legislations are before the American people. Please take time to learn more. Concerned citizens wanting to end the beatings, please visit our website to find out how to help. The NDAA is federal legislation that received support into the month of December last year and was signed into law December 31st, 2011. H.R. 3027 for the good of the future of America can be passed into law in like manner with the support of concerned, responsible, and caring American citizens. Learn more and how to help at www.thehittingstopshere.com. Please visit our website message board and review a message posted there entitled 7 Ways to Support H.R. 3027. Contact us at safechildenvironments@gmail.com or 800-515-9216. Thank you for joining me, Paula Flo, here on America Speaks, where America gets to speak. In closing, I would like to invite my listeners to take a look at Psalm chapter 12, verse 8, and think about this. Children are deemed the greatest, yet we accept their abuse and murder in our American schools, paid for by our tax dollars. Same-sex marriage is considered an abomination. Psalm 12, verse 8 says, "The wicked freely strut about when what is vile is honored among men." Take a look around the country, see what's going on. Are the wicked freely strutting about